Welcome to Find My Voice on the live show and the podcast as we talk to people who have found their voice to inspire you to find your voice. This is a new series, and it is a new series pretty much geared for people who want to up their presentation of themselves and their voice in their podcasting, or for people to start to inspire you to kind of get a sense of how do you create a great show. So I'm talking to broadcasters, very famous New Zealand and Australian broadcasters who I might have worked with in the past, and to get their thoughts on how they can really help you grow in that podcasting space. So our first guest is Mr. Robert Scott. Welcome, Robert. Welcome to the show.
Hello, John. Pleasure to be here. You well?
I'm very well.
Good.
Very well. Notice how Robert is just so conversational. It's not a big show. It's just a talk between two people. Robert is the drive host on the Breeze Network around the country, and also picked up the gong for Best Music Host at this year's New Zealand Radio Awards. How do you do that, Robert?
I have no idea, John, to be honest. I just keep on keeping on. I mean, it blows my mind that I'm still in the business after 36 years and very grateful. But how do I do it? Yeah, I just keep on learning, trying to learn anyway.
Got it. We do have a new segment in this series, and we're going to do a bit of a beat the buzzer. So Robert gets to be a contestant on another radio show.
You're
so
flipping it, yeah.
Oh, got it. You've got to add a little bit of flavour to it, brother. So music, I guarantee after 36 years of playing music on the radio, he will get them all four of those. But let's start off a little bit of personal stuff, Robert. Tell us three things about you that perhaps the audience doesn't know.
Okay, the first I've kind of touched upon. I feel very lucky. Long time in the game. When I first began, I was 18. I never thought that I'd be the age that I am, the vintage I am, and still be doing it and still actually rating well and having a good time. The second is I doubt myself a lot. I keep thinking, they call it imposter syndrome or something like that. So one day I'm going to be found out. And the third thing is I get nervous before I start something on air, something new. If it's a new game or it's an interview with someone who I admire, who could be intimidating, I get the butterflies, but they are healthy, right?
They are. My belly at the moment is butterflying at the moment because you wanna do good. You wanna show up well.
Yeah.
So let's get into the good stuff early. How do you create an award-winning show? How do you create? And I get that you've got a team of people around you. You've got obviously from a commercial perspective. But any kind of tips that you would give to people on how do you approach creating a great show?
So my manager, Will Macy, great. He's awesome. He came on board about 4 years ago and the breeze just went through the roof. He doesn't micromanage me. So we bounce off ideas off each other, but primarily he trusts me to come up with my own content. And I think that's where the secret is. It's a terrible thing to say and it's annoying, but I'm always on. Do you know what I mean? I'm always getting ideas. Like I'm walking the dog the other day and I heard someone whistling inside a house and I thought, haven't heard that for a while. Someone whistling. So I put a note on my phone. I said, whistling. And at that stage, I didn't quite know what I was going to do with whistling. A couple of days later, I thought, you know what? You don't hear people whistling anymore. And so that was a topic for my show. And sure enough, got a great response because it was something that I had a natural reaction to. And went, right, there is something there in the way of content that I can do with on my show.
So back in the day, there was just radio, but now there is another medium, which is a way to engage, I guess, an audience. How have you found integrating socials into your show?
So my Facebook page is just an extension of my show. So listeners are there and they chat all the time. Once again, you're always on. I'm at home at night and I'll get a message from a listener and, we'll respond to them. But it's just it's a way of connecting once again, but also I can see what's working. So if I put a topic up on my Facebook page and I get a reaction on my Facebook page, I know that it's going to work on air and I know they care about it. And also, quite commonly, I will message those listeners, say, hey, do you want to come on the radio with me? Because if they can write a decent story on Facebook, they'll be great on air. Pretty much 100%. That's a fact. And so therefore I use Facebook especially as a tool to enhance what I do on the radio.
Wow. And do the listeners still enjoy coming on the radio?
They love it. Nothing changes.
No,
you know,
no.
It's the year 2022, John. 21. Wrong year. And there are things which are just the same as they were when I started in 85. Microphone, headphones, listener, connection. It's all the same. Nothing's changed. Technology has helped us enhance it, but nuts and bolts are exactly the same as what they always have been.
You mentioned before that, about the whistling story. And it's just so relatable, isn't it? It's kind of everyday. Let's not overthink this and make it super big. It's just like it resonates with everybody. That's why you see a lot of people on Facebook talking about COVID-19 because it's all topical. People want to talk about that now. Do you get into that conversation on air, or do you keep it light?
We've actually made the choice, and it's paid off, to actually steer away from that to a point because it's everywhere. And the Breeze has always been seen as a place where people go to just take it easy, to relax away from that stuff. Sure, we're going to talk about it if we need to talk about it, but by and large, we are a place to go that doesn't talk about it and escape.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it. Let's take us back. 1983. I know it was a few years ago.
It was 85.
85. Yeah, when we were 16, doing 18, whatever it is, I know.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration for you to get into radio?
Oh, that happened really early, from the age of probably 9. Our family had come out from the UK to settle in Palmerston North. And back then in England, there was no such thing as local radio, but there was in New Zealand, and that was 2ZA in Palmerston North. And there were a few broadcasters which I galvanized towards. One was Audrey Green, who was a great reporter, shopping reporter for 2ZA. And I got to know her by doing some amateur theatre. And, once you get to know these people, I've got an autograph book full of their names still. And you could bike into town and watch them do their thing behind the glass and get a song on the air. And straight away I thought, oh, that's me. I like that. That's what I want to do. Quite bloody minded. When you're young, you have no fear. You have no fear. You're going to do it, right? Nothing's going to stop you. Sadly, when we get older, these barriers come up and this anxiety starts to build. But when you're younger, you're so much more focused because nothing's going to get in your way.
But then again, nothing can get in your way when you're 55 or 53. If you know what you want to do and you embrace, open learning.
That's true.
If you can do anything now, but yes, there's a lot less fear. Let's talk some of the, and just, do you think you enjoy it as much as you do, as you did back then? How do you?
Yeah, I do. Because I do love embracing the new technology. I worked in England for a wee while, 1999 to 2001, and my co-host Guy was ahead of his time. He had Adobe editing suite at home, and I went, God, you've got one of those. And so I bought that, and I came back here and realized that I could do all that kind of editing at home. And now, fast forward to today, the other day I spoke with Jimmy Barnes, recorded on my laptop with my microphone, edited everything up, easy. So I love embracing that new technology. So that excites me.
I kind of found back in those days, you're alone in a studio. Yes, there are people listening, but it can be a lonely game. But you obviously you really are picturing someone across the desk talking to them.
Yeah, that still happens. Absolutely. Yep.
Do you have a little picture of someone in your mind's eye?
No, I don't. I used to have, but I don't. Maybe it's because I've done it for so long. It just, comes out, Yeah.
Take me back again. Some of those, you mentioned Jimmy Barnes then, which is quite awe-inspiring when you're having guests on a show. I know they're just people and they've got a story to tell. Can you think of some other big names that you really enjoyed speaking with?
Cher, delightful, slightly flirtatious.
Wow.
which took me back. But she was really fun. And you expect someone like Cher, this is just on the phone, right? You expect someone like Cher, who's in her 70s, to be a little bit overdoing interviews. She was on. She came to the phone. Is that Robert? I was like, oh my God, is that Cher? Is that Cher? You know? And you can ask me anything you like, but nothing personal. And of course, you know, that was like she opened it up for me to have some fun with her, and we did. We had a great time. That blew me away. It wasn't live, but I stopped the recording and I was spinning. Wow, one of the most famous female vocalists of all time. So down to earth, so fun, and a little bit flirty.
Wow.
Mm.
You've had a long and illustrious career from 2ZA moving up to Auckland. Where did you stop first in Auckland?
Well, I used to listen to 2ZA, but worked at 2XS, which was
got it. Yep.
Yeah. No, 2ZA turned me down. Like so many broadcasters, we all have a story about going to applying for broadcasting school and being told, no, you're too young. You know, so a year later, I went to 2XS, and 2XS was a great breeding ground for young broadcasters, and you know, a lot of great people have come out of 2XS. So from 2XS, after 7 years, to 91 FM in Takapuna, which was the station in town. It was the most listened to commercial station in the country. We had 250,000 listeners at one stage. Wow. But that's when there was only a handful of stations in Auckland. Sure. But it was huge. It was a big deal. They had a boat, had a helicopter, you know. I'd never seen anything like it coming from Palmerston. It's like, oh my God, this is big time radio.
Yeah. And some of the names, again, for me, it's, I guess it's about perhaps that awe-inspiring, though, because those marvelous people who created the news, who created entertainment, and were icons. Some of the people that I worked with in the 90s. But who was our prime minister? Not prime minister, but finance minister at 2XA? Was that Mr. What's his name, or was that a different station? Who was the station manager?
Talking about Stephen Joyce.
Stephen Joyce, that's right. Yes, I am.
You know, he was part of the beginning of Radio Works. Absolutely. I mean, together with him and a fellow called Grant Hislop, they were instrumental in the birth of what now is MediaWorks.
Wow.
Private radio.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. So have you got any funny moments? Any things that perhaps along the way that perhaps didn't go so well?
One of my most embarrassing moments back in Palmy, we used to have a kite day, and we used to, like this at Easter, so thousands of people turn up with their kites, and part of the promotion was a ping pong ball drop, and I was the one that was in the little Cessna plane, and I got the okay to drop the ping pong balls, and I landed back at the airport, and then over the RT, when are you going to drop the balls? And I said, I've dropped the balls, and apparently a big gust of wind blew them into the local swimming pool, so no one got the prize. It was hilarious. Can you imagine health and safety now? I was hanging out a plane, and I hate heights, with a rubbish bag full of ping pong balls. So that was fun. But there's always things like leaving the microphone on the wrong time, and things going to air or not going to air, and
dead air.
Yeah.
Have you do you still have those wake up in the middle of the night going, oh my God, I've left a different channel on, or I often get that dream where it's like, in the days of working with carts and CDs, and it's literally, I've got nothing planned, and the song's running out, and you just don't know what you're going to do next. Do you ever get those cold sweat dreams?
The dead air dreams. Absolutely. Very common amongst broadcasters. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah.
Oh, goodness me. So maybe 3 tips that you would, if you're talking to somebody, they want to work in radio, what should they do? What kind of stint? Well, yeah, kind of to obviously get in, to start, to be a radio announcer. What advice would you give them? 35 years on from when you started?
Okay, but basically, be prepared to work for nothing. Get out, help out with promotions, cook some sausages on a sausage sizzle. Just help get your face in there. Be enthusiastic. Don't expect any money for a while. Once you get your foot in the door, I mean, the broadcasting schools are really they're gold standard. And these days, I think it is harder for people to get on the radio without going through the broadcasting schools. And there's a few of them. They're all pretty good, or very good, in fact. Once you're on air, find your voice, work out who you are, and do what you do to your best advantage. So play on your strengths. James Daniels, at one stage, did a little bit of work in Palmerston in between jobs. He was, there was a 3-month stand down period, right? So he was crossing the road down in Christchurch, and he took me to the Cobb & Co public bar for lunch, and I'll never forget this. This is about 88. And he said, "Oh, you play the guitar, don't you?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I play the guitar." He goes, "You should do that on the radio." I went, "I never thought of that. Never thought of that." And so he said to me, play on your strengths, because that's something he did. And that was a real light bulb moment for me. And so therefore I do a lot of that stuff. And I have jams with musicians that come in, or write the occasional song parody, bringing that side of me. I used to play in bands up until recently onto the radio. So play on your strengths. To cut a long story short, if there's something that you can do that's a little bit different, do it on the radio.
Great advice. Great advice. Yep. And yeah, I remember that was my first gig, 91 ZM in Christchurch, 1989 or 1990, and James Daniels and Ken Ellis were doing breakfast. And it was just remarkable. Just, James did bring that different, energy, that this wasn't a sound that was anywhere else on the radio. But what really great advice. Okay, it's time to do a quick little quiz, shall we?
Okay, right.
A little music quiz. Now, I don't know if I haven't done this before. I'm on StreamYard, so, and I'm definitely 53, Robert. So I might be challenged with some of that technology as well. But hopefully it works. If it doesn't, then you'll know to get the stuff sorted next time. So I have got 4 songs. I've got 4 songs lined up, and your objective is to guess the name of the artist. And the name of the song. And if you get all 4 of these correct, then I will deliver to you a 6-pack of your favorite brews. How's that?
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Well, we'll do that when I can do that in person, because I'd rather come and see you rather than just deliver it by some liquor delivery service. So I'm not sure if it's going to play, but we'll find out. Here we go. Here's your first one.
I can't hear it.
Can you hear it?
I can't.
Bloody hell! It didn't work.
I'm off the hook.
So maybe I can do a
take your time.
I know. Take your time. So I don't know whether you can bring in music into. Oh, you can. It has to be done as an overlay. Oh, bloody hell!
What does that mean? Is that something you can do? No.
Yeah, there's overlays and video clips, all sorts of things. But it's that didn't work. Oh well, I'll find out how to make that work and do that next time. But I'll still come and deliver a 6-pack of beer and sit there and you can play a song. Thanks for joining me on the show. And what are you excited about with level 3?
Oh, coffees, definitely. Burger fuel. Not my wife has just been cooking endlessly. I help out as well, but I'm pretty rubbish in the kitchen. Not my forte, but just to have some, just something else to eat.
Absolutely. All right, Robert Scott, thank you very much for joining us.
Take care, please.